Welcome back everyone to my F1 predictions for Bahrain, for the Bahrain GP. And we're going to start with the most washed driver. So the most washed driver in Japan was Liam Lawson. That was his moment for redemption. He was going to fight back about being dropped to RB. He was going to show everyone they were wrong, and it just didn't happen. He was just completely washed. Is he going to be the most washed driver in Bahrain? I don't think so. I think the most washed driver in Bahrain is going to be a certain Mr. Carlos Sainz Jr., who's been on the wash radar recently because he tends to start slow. And then we're talking about a race winner for Ferrari last season. And also, do you remember in Verstappen's really dominant season in 23, was it, when he won in Singapore? Like, he was the only driver, non-Red Bull driver, to win in 23. So Carlos Sainz has got pedigree, but this season he's absolutely nowhere compared to Alex Albon. He doesn't look particularly comfortable in the Williams. Bahrain is a track where you can really get found out, especially if there's some crosswinds in these high-speed corners. So I think Carlos Sainz is going to be the most washed driver in Bahrain. Let me know what you think. Driver on fire for Japan, for me, was between Verstappen and Kimi Antonelli. I think it's going to be Kimi Antonelli for Bahrain. I don't think Verstappen is going to be on fire. We're going to get onto that later. I feel like this could be a good track for the Mercedes, and Kimi could really benefit here. If they do some kind of funky strategy for him where he's able to overtake going into turn one, this could be super exciting. Bahrain could be a good track for the Mercedes, and Kimi Antonelli has been really impressive this season. Like, super impressive. He's the rookie by far who's coping the best with the cars this year. So I'm going to go Kimi Antonelli, driver on fire. Now we go to most washed team. This is where it's going to get controversial. So for Japan, Alpine were the most washed team. You know, they're just not performing. Binning it in FP2 as well. Binning it for like the third time this season. I think controversially, you're not going to believe me here, but hear me out. The most washed team for Bahrain is going to be Red Bull. I don't think this is going to be a good track for Red Bull. I think they're going to get found out a little bit here. I think the Verstappen victory in Japan is going to be the peak of Red Bull this season. And I think you can see it meant a lot to Verstappen. It meant a lot to the team. That might be the peak for Red Bull for years and years to come. Now they've no longer got Adrian Newey in their corner. The 26 regs might not be working in their favour. And I just don't see how Verstappen is going to be able to keep it up. I think we're going to see the Mercedes power units really come to the fore. So I think Red Bull are not going to perform. That means Yuki Tsunoda is not going to perform. That's maybe no surprise. But I think Verstappen is going to finish like 7th or 8th or something like that. And I think we're going to be saying the difference from where they were in Japan to where they'll be in Bahrain means they're going to be the most washed team. But that's going to be a controversial one. Let me know what you think. Team on fire. With regret, we put McLaren as team on fire for Japan because, you know, they were pretty comfortable in second and third, but we didn't like how they didn't attack Verstappen. We didn't like the kind of papaya team orders or whatever was going on, papaya games. I think the team on fire for Bahrain is going to be Mercedes. I think this is going to be a really good circuit for Mercedes, and they've kind of been there or thereabouts, and I feel like Mercedes maybe aren't showing all of their cards, and they're a couple of developments away perhaps from making a real step up in pace. George Russell's been up there, Kimi Antonelli's been up there. They've been super consistent. I think they're going to be more consistent than Red Bull. I think they're going to have more outright pace than Ferrari, and it's going to be interesting whether they can bring the fight to McLaren. And I feel like there's a more established kind of team leader, you know, rookie coming through in Kimi in the Mercedes camp, whereas McLaren is just ready to spontaneously combust. Those drivers both know now is their time. There's no guarantees in 26 what's going to happen. So the pressure is there. If they want to get that World Driver Championship, they're going to have to kind of dunk on their teammate. It's game theory. And I think Mercedes could profit. So I'm going Mercedes, team on fire. Now that's going to lean into my podium prediction. So for my podium prediction for Bahrain, I'm going to go George Russell, Kimi, and Lando Norris. So I'm going George Russell, Kimi, Lando Norris. Now, I think Norris is still going to be there or thereabouts. I'm kind of thinking that maybe the McLaren drivers are going to second guess it here. They're not going to work as a team. We saw in Japan, Oscar kind of doesn't like to play the rules exactly as McLaren give it to him. He will try and strain and show that he's got the pace. He does want to put the pressure on. He tries to kind of bank credits and say, you know, I've got the pace. I could win this race, just letting you know. And he's waiting for his time to cash in. If you remember in Melbourne, he was also being super patient until the rain came down. Oscar looked like the faster driver. And in fact, maybe the rain kind of robbed us a little bit of a exciting finish there, because at his home Grand Prix, you think Oscar would definitely go for it. But here in Bahrain, I'm going to go a bit of a McLaren kind of like failure on strategy, which is maybe not too surprising. And I'm going to go George Russell and Kimi. I'm going to go maybe something like George Russell kind of like, you know, pulls rank a little bit and keeps Kimi behind. I think it could be an exciting race at Bahrain, maybe more exciting than we're expecting. Definitely more exciting than the snooze fest that was Japan. That was just an abomination for Formula One racing. Like, it should not have been that bad. We're going to go now to the Bandit. This is a really interesting one. So the Bandit, who is going to be the Bandit in Bahrain? So many potentials here. I'm going to go for Fernando Alonso. I think Fernando Alonso is going to be the Bandit because I think he's got too much pride. I think he's going to get in the way and he's not going to obey blue flags. He's kind of going to race with people. He's going to be out of sync on strategy and not let people through. I think Fernando Alonso is going to emerge into this bandit role where he's kind of like a troll under the bridge. I don't think he's happy at Aston Martin. I don't think that team, let's be honest, that team is not giving him the platform that he wants. They probably promised him more. I mean, thank goodness for him he's not in the Alpine, but it's not much better being in the Aston Martin. And he's probably looking at that Valkyrie in WEC and thinking, I can't quite fancy being in the Valkyrie now and doing quite a bit of endurance racing. So I think Fernando Alonso is going to be the Bandit. So let me know as always what you think. Make sure to subscribe and we'll see what happens for the Bahrain GP. I'll be doing the watch along as usual.